What's up, everybody? It is I, Paul from Grindhouse Funhouse. How's it going over there in Instagram land? Hope all y'all doing well, keeping busy, not freaking out, finding things to do. I am back with another library shelf overview, another segment. This is shelf number 4 for you out there that are counting out of 20. That is crazy. I'm only at 4. 16 more to go. I can't believe this. By the way, happy Canadian National Film Day. That is today. It is to celebrate the greatness that is our cinema, be it Canexploitation, maybe early 80s horror movies, up to David Cronenberg, Eda Megoyan, Xavier Dolan perhaps. So yeah, vast richness of movies. It's good to have a day to celebrate because we do make good movies. So there you go. All right, enough rambling. I will start with the first title from shelf number 4, and it is Control, which is the biopic on Ian Curtis, lead singer of Joy Division. He was played by Sam Riley. Very good performance. A black and white movie by Anton Corbijn. And if you don't know who Anton Corbijn is, he did a lot of music videos in the 80s for Depeche Mode and other artists. It's a very good movie. It's very dark, but very on point. If you want to know more about Joy Division, it's a great way to get into that band. All right, up next, Cool World, Ralph Bakshi. It is a mix between animation and real world. Kim Basinger's in this, early role from Brad Pitt. I haven't seen it. I want to. It looks really out there. So yeah, Cool World right here. A Kino Lorber title, Cop, from starring James Woods. And he's very good in this. So he plays a cop. What an original title, right? And he gives one of those like crazy over-the-top performance. And yeah, there we go, Cop. A fun 80s comedy, The Couch Trip. Dan Aykroyd in this, who plays a mental patient that escapes from an institution, takes over a radio disc jockey, a radio personality that gives advice to people. And the person he replaces is Charles Grodin. And Charles Grodin is the master of these kind of roles where he plays an uppity rich person, a well-to-do person, and then loses everything. And then you see him seethe with rage for the rest of the movie, trying to get his identity back. It is a really fun movie. One to check out if you want a good laugh. Up next, CoverGirl, starring Jeff Conaway. It is a Jean-Claude Law movie. It's a Québécois director, best known for, what was the movie again? I'm losing track. But yes, anyway, it is about a model trying to make it big in the 80s, being the face of the 80s. That's her dream. It seems very 80s movie. I just bought this from the Kino Lorber sale back in February, so I've yet to see it. But since it's a Jean-Claude Law movie, I'm giving it a chance. There you go. Crack House with Richard Roundtree, Jim Brown. So basically 2 stars from the blaxploitation days. Came out in 1990. I believe they play cops. This is in LA. There's a crack house involved. So you know the title says it all. I don't think I have to say much about this, but it's yeah, it's about gangs and stuff. Fun times. All right, up next, my favorite movies from Jason Statham. That would be the Crank movies, playing Chev Chelios, directed by the Neville Dean. I think the Neville Dean Taylor. Just balls to the wall movie, non-stop action. It never lays down. The pace is amazing. The sequel Crank 2 High Voltage is even fucking crazier. And if you've never seen those movies, those are the best, I'd say, in the top 10 action films of the 2010s, for sure. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Check it out. Up next, an MVD title, Crazy Six, Rob Lowe, Burt Reynolds, Ice-T, and Mario Van Peebles. So basically a lot of B-movie actors from the 90s, at least B-movies at that point in their career, especially for Burt and Mario Van Peebles. But seems like an action movie directed by Albert Pyun, which will get other titles coming up from him. He's got quite the filmography of action movies. Up next, the box set of Creepshow, the sweet 80s horror anthology from Scream Factory. It is an amazing set, really beautiful, sturdy box, as you can see right here. It comes with a booklet and so many special features. A lot of people out there have this, so I have to tell you about it. And then I have also the box set of Creepshow 2 from Arrow Video. And this one is special because it is the Canadian version. And only 1,000 were produced, and that's about it. So only 1,000 of us on planet Earth has the Creepshow 2 set. So there you go. Very happy to have this in my collection. Then again from Arrow, Crimes of Passion. It's a Ken Russell film with Kathleen Turner and Anthony Perkins. I really love the slipcover on this one because it's very smooth. It's like velvety smooth. Like I just want to keep rubbing it. But yeah, bought this at one of the Arrow sales. I haven't had a chance to check it out. Up next, a steelbook of Crimson Peak. There we go, right here. Guillermo del Toro, Haunted House movie. Yeah, it's really good. Pretty damn good. Then I have here Critters. Both thumbs up, says Siskel and Ebert. So yeah, that was one of many inspired movies from Gremlins. You had so many ripoffs. Critters, I guess, was one of the more successful ripoffs, I guess. They did like 5 or 6, counting the one that came out last summer. But yeah, right here, Critters. I need to get the Scream Factory box set. Up next, we have Crocodile Dundee, Paul Hogan. Probably one of the biggest Australian film of all time, box office wise. This was a phenomenon back in 1986. And then we had the sequel, Crocodile Dundee 2. And there's a third one in Los Angeles. I don't have that one. And there's a new one coming out this year called The Very Excellent Mr. Dundee. You have to see the trailer of this. It looks like a giant piece of turd. It's it's gonna be awful. But you know, Paul Hogan has to eat. So there you go. Crooklyn, a Spike Lee joint. It was such on a roll, Spike Lee in the 90s with Malcolm X, Crooklyn, blanking on the other ones. But you know, he had a really good run from like 92 to 98 or something. But yeah, it's a family movie. Then we have The Crow, starring Brandon Lee, an Alex Proyas film. That dude has an Adonai for you know, production design. His movie looks amazing. I got another one coming up 4 titles from now. That was his follow-up. But yeah, who hasn't seen The Crow? And if there's a new show right now, Cursed Film, that came out last week on Shudder, and basically it's all about the cursed movies, whatever happened like on sets like Poltergeist and the Twilight Zone movie. They did one on The Crow, and they had a few interviews, new stuff unravel about what happened really on the set, and it's actually kind of moving. It's you still learn new stuff after, God, 26 years after this came out. So if you haven't seen Cursed Films, check out that episode specifically. I also have the sequel, The Crow City of Angels. Never seen it. Stars Vincent Perez taking over the role for Brandon Lee. Then we have right here Cujo, Stephen King, from the terrifying novel by Stephen King. Terror has a new name. Cujo. Look at this. Oh yeah, scary, scary stuff. But yeah, who hasn't seen this movie? Starring the excellent Dee Wallace. Basically, the whole movie is basically just them in a car getting hassled by the dog. So yeah, there you go. Up next, how about some comedy from John Hughes? Curly Sue. That's right, I have Curly Sue in my collection. Starring James Belushi. I actually saw this in theaters, my God, in 1991. That's right. But yeah, big John Hughes fan. I want all of his movies. Pretty in Pink just got announced this week. It's going to get a Paramount release on Blu-ray. This new line called Paramount Presents. Finally, they wisen up and started to release their movies on Blu-ray. It's about damn time. So I'm guessing other cool movies will happen soon enough. Up next, I have Cutthroat Island, this giant bomb of a movie directed by Rennie Harlin. With his wife at the time, I believe, Gina Davis, and Matthew Modine. I've not seen, I know of the movie, but I've never actually seen it. But it looks action-packed, so I'll give it a whirl at some point in life. Then, a title from Vinegar Syndrome, Cutting Class. This was a release, I believe, 2 years ago on Black Friday, where they had like 4 or 5 slipcover you had to choose from. So there you go. And this is one of Brad Pitt's first movie. I chose this slipcover with the axe in the head. That was pretty cool. So there you go. Right here. Another Albert Pyong movie. Should probably get the Blu-ray for that. Cyborg, Van Damme. One of the movies that made him into a star. So there you go. Cyborg. How about some... Oop, put this over there. Exploitation, Dark Age, a crocodile just eating people up. This is from Umbrella Entertainment. Have you seen it? I have yet to see it. Let me know if it's any good. I have a feeling it is. I love when nature goes wild movies, animal attacks, and all that good stuff. So it is on the list to watch very soon. The other Alex Proyas film I was talking about, it is Dark City with Kiefer Sutherland, Jennifer Connelly. This is a really trippy movie. If you've never seen it, great sci-fi from the 90s, top 5 easy. Just the world building of this is just amazing. And yeah, I should definitely get this on Blu-ray. I can't imagine how awesome it would look on Blu-ray. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely recommend this. Up next, I have the first movie of John Carpenter, Dark Star. I believe this was a student film that was just so damn good that they actually released in theaters. And it was done with Dan O'Bannon, great sci-fi writer, also director. But yeah, the first film, John Carpenter. One of my favorite grindhouse-y movies from the 70s, The Dark. This is a Code Red release, starring William Devane, Richard Jekyll, Keenan Wynn. The cover looks way cooler than the actual movie, but it's a fun little romp with this guy as being the evil bad guy in the movie. But very much worth a look. Up next, classic Darkman with from Sam Raimi. One of the first movie Liam Neeson did. Well, not his first, but the one that made him be discovered by a lot of people. And the great score from Danny Elfman as well. So yeah, it's kind of a superhero movie without having like the comic book attached to it. It was just created as is. And great 1990 movie, worth checking out. Then I have Darkman 2, The Return of Durant. Liam Neeson is not in this movie, and nor in the the other sequel. I believe, what's the guy's name that replaces him? It is Arnold Vosloo as Darkman. He also played the villain in the Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser. But yeah, the sequel right here. Then just all gonna fall right here. This is the Vinegar Syndrome. Hell Comes to Frogtown. Amazing, amazing set. Look at this. This movie does not deserve this kind of. But look at this. This is just beautiful right here. And yeah, Roddy Piper, The Last Man on Earth. Women one is Mancy to repopulate the earth. And I put this movie like this because I have a few, every two shelves I'll face forward a few of the movies so they could you know, it looks better like this instead of just looking at rows of just spines. I like to have like the artwork staring at me, so I change it every couple weeks or once a month to new titles I buy. So there you go, that's why it's there. Up next, a kids movie from the 80s I remember watching quite a bit, which is Daryl, Data Analyzing Robot Youth Life Form. So you guessed it, he plays a robot, little cyborg that that is kind of like introduced in a family, and then the government wants him back, but the family wants to keep him, so he goes on the run. It's a great little sci-fi movie that's not talked about as much, and yes, it does need a blue, and it is a Paramount movie, so maybe it will. I doubt it's first in line to get the Blu-ray treatment, but hell, it would be very cool indeed to get a blue for this. All right. Yeah, that's not a good setup for. All right, fuck it. I'm gonna put it like this. All right, up next, Dawn of the Dead, the remake from Zack Snyder. Probably one of his good movies. He's got maybe two. This one and 300, I guess. But it's a very decent remake, one of the better ones. And if you've been doubting, if you said like, I don't want to see a remake of the ultimate, you know, Romero movie in his zombie trilogy, like, or series, I would say to that, fuck that and watch it, because it's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. Check it out. Up next, The Day After, the miniseries that aired in the 80s. I actually remember watching this as a kid. I barely remember much of anything, but I remember that it scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. There's I believe Kino Lorber released a version of this. I should probably get my hands on, but there you go, The Day After. A double feature from Brian Trenchard Smith from Umbrella Entertainment. Day of the Panther, Strike of the Panther, some kung fu shenanigans from a white dude that stars in this. I've yet to see it, but it gets me right in the 80s cheese vector in my heart, somewhere in there. I love that kind of stuff. I'm definitely going to do a whole night of this, just watching both at the same time, or one after the other, perhaps. Up next, disaster movie, The Day After Tomorrow, a Roland Emmerich movie. It is about the Earth cooling, everything just ices up. It stars Dennis Quaid, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Amy Rossum. And I was an extra in this movie. That's right. In the winter of 2003, it was shot right here in Montreal. And I did a week on this thing. And I actually know the two scenes I'm in. I'm in a scene where there's a bridge. We all walk on it. We're like 20 people. And then we just freeze to death. And then there's like just snow blowing in our faces. And those were like really shitty days. And the other day I did was the last scene of the movie where people get rescued by helicopter, and I'm one of the people that stays behind, just waving, just take me, and then I just like freeze to death. And it was freezing that day, minus 30 degrees. I had like packs everywhere just to stay warm. It was fun. It was fun, but I wouldn't do it every week. It's not but it's nice to know I'm in that movie. All right, up next, Daybreakers, a vampire movie with Ethan Hawke, William Dafoe, Sam Neill, directed by the Speedig brothers. Great, great, great vampire movie. If you haven't seen it, this is another recommendation. Yeah, there you go. Daybreakers. How about the Criterion set for Dazed and Confused from my favorite movie director, Richard Linklater. I mean, Dazed and Confused, who hasn't seen this movie? This set is so packed with goodness. It's quite amazing. Right here, sorry if I can't show it, but yeah, there you go, Dazed and Confused. Up next, Dead Alive, the DVD of it. You know, Peter Jackson. And there's a Blu-ray coming up, 4K. They're working on it right now. Peter's hard at work. He's got all the time in the world now. Probably we're gonna get to see those at the end of the year. But yeah, Dead Alive. One of those underrated gem, Dead and Buried, from the creator of Alien, brings a new terror to Earth. This is, like I told before, is it O'Bannon? Yes, Dan O'Bannon that wrote this, directed by Gary Sherman. I like the atmosphere of like that town they're in, like a coastal village, and there's a brutal murder happening, and that happened, and then James Ferrantino is the one trying to solve, and then some weird shit happens. But it's a fun movie, Dead and Buried. Up next, another Brian Trenchard Smith movie from Australia, Dead End Drive-In. I've only seen the trailer of this. I'm wanting to check the movie out. So there you go, Dead End Drive-In. An 88 film movie. Dead Heat, Treat Williams, Joe Piscopo. Again with the velvety smooth slipcover, really dig it. It's about about LA detective. One becomes like a zombie. That's Treat William, and then Joe Piscopo has to deal with that stuff. Yeah, it's a fun little 80s horror movie right here. Dead Heat. Ooh, love this one. Classic 90s comedy. Dead Man on Campus. The best college movie since Animal House, starring Zach from Saved by the Bell, and then Tom Everett Scott. The premise is if your roommate dies while the school year is in session, you get the person that stays with him gets all A's. So basically, they're trying to find someone to try to kill so they could get A's. It's really wacky. It's 90s. It's very 90s. The music, the soundtrack to this is by the Dust Brothers, and it is an amazing soundtrack. If you want to get into like 90s alternative music, one of my favorite bands on this, like Self's on this, just seek out that soundtrack. It is very good. But yeah, Dead Man on Campus right here. Then we have from the Hughes Brothers, Dead President, a heist movie from the 90s, directed by the Hughes Brothers, like I said. So there you go. Ooh, one of my favorite horror movies, Dead Snow. And then it's yeah, Nazi zombies coming back to life, and they fuck shit up, man. It is bloody as hell. If you've never seen this one, it's a good recommendation. Very gory. There you go, right here. And then the sequel, which is more of a, I want to say a parody, but like a send-up of the first movie, but it gets as gory and as bloody as the first one. It's Dead Snow 2, Red versus Dead, right here. And who's that guy from Freaks and Geeks in this? And yeah, I can't remember. Oh, Martin Starr. Like there's actual Americans in this one, because the first one, it's all is it Swedish or Scandinavian? I can't remember. But yeah, then I got the steel book of this. I kept it in my collection like that. And then Stephen King's The Dead Zone, directed by, who directed this one? Oh yeah, David Cronenberg, of course. Being Canadian Film Day, that could be an excellent pick for you guys to see for Canadian National Film Day, starring Christopher Walken. And there's something that came out this week if you know the series Now This on YouTube, it's a very political series. Stephen King did an interview about the movie and how it parallels the character Martin Sheen from this movie to Dead Zone to now with Trump. It is uncanny, the stuff that he said in the movie and that Trump says in real life. And he watches like, that guy's prescient. He foresaw Trump like 40 years ago, and I would definitely seek out this, watch this video on YouTube. It blew my mind when I watched it, but it's an excellent movie. Right here, The Dead Zone. I got a Code Red, Deadly Dream. I don't remember what it's about. Bought this. It was part of like a haul I got from Code Red. But Mitchell Anderson from Party of Five, that dude right here is in the movie. So there you go, Deadly Dreams right here. And then I have a comedy, Deal of the Century. Chevy Chase, Sigourney Weaver, Gregory Hines. They're arm dealers in the third world nation. This is a movie I know nothing about. And then when I found it, it's like, what the hell is this movie? And I bought it for like $1. And it's William Friedkin of Exorcist fame that directed this. Did you know about this? I surely did not. Came out in '83, and I'm very curious to see it because it's barely spoken of, this movie. So there you go. Deal of the Century. If you've seen it, let me know your thoughts because I'm very curious. One of those women in peril movies from the early 90s, Deceived with Goldie Hawn. It's very, very good. I actually saw this in theaters back in 1991. Think of Sleeping with the Enemy, Consenting Adults, that kind of movie. So there you go, right here. Up next, Deep Cover, Lawrence Fishburne, Jeff Goldblum, directed by Bill Duke. And Bill Duke was in Commando, was in Predator, always plays like heavy, tough guys. But he's an amazing director. It's a very dark movie. And it's about a police officer, Fishburne, that goes undercover to catch Jeff Goldblum, who's a drug dealer. And it's shot in LA, in the South Central. And it's a great little gem. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Up next, an Argento movie, Deep Red, Giallo. I have very few Giallos in my collection. I like them enough, but it's not my priority right now. Right now I'm into Politoteskis, which I'm going to get into. But in the Argento oeuvre, it's a nice little one right here. Deep Red from Arrow Video. Up next, one of my all-time favorite movies, Defending Your Life. I actually put this in the thumbnail for this video, starring Albert Brooke, who's a comedic genius. He plays basically a man who just dies at the beginning of the movie and then goes to Judgment City, where he has to watch a few events of his life, and basically they have to decide if he's worthy of going to heaven or if he has to have a do-over and go back on Earth and start over again. And while he's in Judgment City, he meets up with Meryl Streep, who's like this perfect woman. And it's a very funny movie. It's moving. It's very dry, acerbic. There's also Rip Torn, who plays this lawyer in the movie, and he's so good in this. It's one of his best movies. I swear to God, like, if you want something uplifting and really touches you, I guess, in these trying times, I would highly recommend you watch Defending Your Life. You will not regret it. It's a great movie. Up next, John Candy, Delirious, early 90s comedy. Not very well known. I don't see that many people talk about this one. I believe he plays a soap opera. Like, he writes screenplays for soap operas, and he gets mixed up in some shenanigans. It's been so long since I've seen it, but I remember it being good. Some Chuck Norris, Delta Force, right here with Lee Marvin. And they're, look at those big guns, those rocket launchers. So yeah, in full action mode in 1986. It is a Canon Group film. You do know I love the Canon, so there you go, Delta Force. One of the better Stallone movies, Demolition Man, with Wesley Snipes. Science fiction, starts in 2032. Yeah, man, if you haven't seen Demolition Man, and there you go. There was this meme that came back like last month when the toilet paper shortage came out, and in the movie there's a scene where they explain how they go to the bathroom, and they redid that as the meme that went around everywhere. And when I saw this, I thought it was freaking hilarious. So there you go. Another fun comedy, Detroit Rock City, starring a movie from Adam Rifkin, starring Edward Furlong. It's just a bunch of friends trying to go to a Kiss concert, and wackiness ensues. We're almost done, people. We're almost done. Up next, Devil's Advocate, Keanu Reeves, Al Pacino. Fun little romp by Taylor Hackford, and it's one of the early roles from Charlize Theron right here. Ooh, one of my favorite from 1990, Dick Tracy. I saw that in theaters. Just the color schemes of this thing is amazing. The soundtrack again from Danny Elfman. All the makeup effect is just really amazing. Madonna's in this, Al Pacino, a lot of like cool B actors from the 80s. Got to play villains in this, directed by Warren Beatty. So there you go. Dickstown, James Woods, Lou Gossett Jr. James Wood plays a boxing promoter, and it's a fun little comedy. Edward Graham's in this. I believe Edward Graham was dating James Wood at the time. Lucky bastard. But yeah, fun little comedy right here. Speaking of Ken exploitation and horror movies from the 70s, Dead Dream right here, directed by Bob Clark. It's a fun little movie here, and this is the Blue Underground, the version of it, which is quite excellent. Then I have Vinegar Syndrome, Death Machine. Again, the artwork does not represent the movie. It's a fun exploitation 70s movie, but this, I want to see that movie. This is not the movie you're getting. But yeah, there you go, Death Machine. Another Vinegar Syndrome, Death Row Game Show, right here. There you go. Ooh, now we're getting to the meat of the action movies. The Bronson, Death Wish 2. Death Wish 2, right here. First his wife, now his daughter. I need to get the Blu-ray of this. I don't know why I still get the DVD. One of the best action movies of the 80s. Death Wish 3. This movie is batshit crazy. You need to watch. Charles Bronson does not give a fuck in this movie. He will kill anything that moves. It is an absurd movie. So it's just amazing. It is amazing. Michael Winner was a insane man. If you have not seen Death Wish 3, my God, what are you waiting for? It's a treat. I got Death Wish 4, The Crackdown. How you can't really win after Death Wish 3. Coming out with Death Wish 4. It's good, but it's not as good as Death Wish 3. But, you know, right here. I need to get the last one. I need to find it. Classic backwood movie. That Deliverance, Burt Reynolds. Exploitation, John Voight, John Boorman. Who doesn't know about Deliverance? Ned Beatty. That poor man got you had to outlive this. Like, you couldn't outlive this. But yeah, Deliverance right here. Another Rennie Harlin movie. Deep Blue Sea. Bigger, Smarter, Faster, Meaner. I just remembered the LL Cool J song for this one. And obviously the most famous scene of all, where Samuel L. Jackson gets eaten up by a shark. But yeah, it's all right. It's good. It's Deep Blue Sea. And finally, that's right, finally, we have The Devil's Honey, Lucio Fulci, Severin film. I heard so much things about this movie that I had to get it. It's Lucio Fulci as well. So yeah, I have not seen it yet. It's a treat I'm saving myself for later. But yeah, there you go. 7th film, The Devil's Honey. And you know what? That is it. My God, I've talked a lot on this one, but I hope you enjoy this. Shelf number 5 will come up soon enough. What else have I got to do, really? But just talk about movies. Check this one on the YouTubes. Subscribe if you want to, if you haven't yet. I'll post more on Instagram like I do almost every day. Thanks for watching, and I want to say hello, goodbye to the people that have been watching. Thanks for joining in. It was really nice, and see you later. Bye bye now.